Hey everyone, Rasmus here. I have almost completed Prospector now, so I figured now would be a good time to do some tips. And with that, let's just get straight into the tips. My first tip is to prioritize the rune gate, and more specifically the upgrades from the rune gate. To activate the rune gate, which you find right next to your starting ship, you basically need to find 2 of these in the map and make your robot pick them up and carry them back here. Once you've done that, you can go through the portal, and through the portal you can use these alien relics to essentially purchase upgrades. And these upgrades can be a huge quality of life, especially the upgrade that makes your crafting time faster and your plants grow faster is a massive quality of life. So I strongly recommend exploring the map and finding these ancient relics or alien relics around the map. And they do respawn, so that's something to keep in mind. My next tip is to prioritize getting the craft from silo upgrades as early as possible. You acquire it here at the fabricator, and so you can get it pretty early on, and you should prioritize getting this as soon as possible, especially because this makes the game a lot less cumbersome to play, but also because resources, once you have this, are shared between different planets. And speaking of different planets, it's worth noting that when you go to a different planet, all your crafting, all your gathering will stop on all other planets. So crafting is only active on whichever planet you're on currently. So you should try to centralize all your crafting to one planet, preferably at least. When you have automated a lot of crafting or doing a lot of crafting in general, it can also be very annoying running through your base and accidentally picking up a bunch of stuff, and now you have a full inventory and need to go deliver it in your various silos. So to combat this, you can disable item pickup by holding Alt, and it will disable it down here, you can see. I also quickly want to explain the survival mechanics in the game. The top bar here, the pink one, is your health, the gray one is your oxygen, and the yellow one is your energy. You can also see your energy down here by your tool/weapon. As long as you're within your power grid, your energy and your oxygen will always refill. But once you leave your power grid, your oxygen will start to drain. Your energy will only drain as you use it, so if you shoot or if you use your jetpack. So the main thing you need to prioritize is, of course, keeping your health up, and otherwise making sure your oxygen doesn't drain fully, because once your oxygen drains fully, you will start taking damage pretty rapidly. As for running out of energy, there are no consequences to this, except that you won't be able to shoot till you replenish your energy. So to replenish both your energy and your oxygen when you're not attached to a power grid, you need upgrades from the fabricator. One of the upgrades allow you to replenish your oxygen as you eat berries off bushes or from your inventory, and the other essentially allows you to replenish energy as you travel a distance. So if you run completely out of energy, you should essentially just be running around to replenish it. And so while traveling, it can be a big help using your jetpack, and every roughly 10% of traveling, 10% of energy, you should basically just jump down and just run for a short duration, and this will essentially allow you to gain energy from doing this. As you can see here, my energy is always full from just this short shift between using jetpack and normal running. It's also important to automate mineral gathering early on, and to do this you need to place down a mineral extractor. You place it on top of any deposit on the ground, and if the mineral extractor is outside of your transformer grid, so this square around one of the transformers, you need to either build a transformer there to power it, or you need to put down a range extender on top of it. And once the range extender is down, you also need to make sure that it's connected to your power grid. Once you have your mineral extractor down and powered, it's important to also automate the collection of the ore, because you don't want to run over and deposit them or collect them yourself to deposit over and over. So to do this, you can use conveyor belts, and you essentially just place conveyor belts down, going out of the mineral extractor, and put them down. Whoops, that was one too many. And put them down in a way where they will eventually go into one of your silos. It's also important to note that the mineral spots will run out, as you can see here by the blue bar on the mineral extractor. And once they're out, you are basically free to scrap the mineral extractor using G and clicking on it, and get all your materials back. And then you can go and build a new mineral extractor on top of a new deposit. Early on, the deposits can be a bit tricky to find, but the best way to find them is essentially to go to crafting and select the mineral extractor, and then follow these green arrows around the screen. You can see they basically lead you towards the nearest deposits of various types. So having this on will essentially help you find the deposits around the world. And this tip also works for both oil and gas deposits. Later on, a good way to get mineral deposits is to build the magnet miner here. You place it down, and you can also place down a Tesla turret here, which will harvest the minerals for you automatically. And you can also do some collector bots here on one of your silos to collect the minerals. but this will, as you can see, net you a lot of mineral deposits here in a very small space. So later on, this is definitely the best way to essentially automate the gathering of mineral deposits. Next, I want to talk a bit about crafting control. So when you go to any crafting station, you can select what you want to craft. And to increase the amount, you can either click these arrows or you can use the scroll wheel on your mouse. Aside from that, you can press X on your keyboard to craft all the items you can, or C to craft half the items you can. And lastly, you can hit T or the infinite symbol here, which will essentially make any nearby logistic spot start automatically refilling the crafting machine. And it will keep doing it as long as there are resources nearby to craft with. So you might need to transport resources around to make the logistic spots pick these resources up. The game does tell you this, but I also just want to strongly recommend that you build multiple exporters and multiple importers, as this will make it a lot less tedious to play the game, so you're not ending up sitting and waiting for your exporters to return all the time. And a quick bonus tip is to just think a bit about how you do the layout of your base so it doesn't end up being as big a mess as my base, because this is going to take forever to clean up. As you might have noticed, it's a very messy base I got going on here. Another thing the game tells you is to aim for the sweet spot when you're mining. And the sweet spot is this little blue turning thing here in the bottom. I will hit it here, as you can see. And my tip here is just to, when you're trying to hit the sweet spot, sometimes you do need to move around as well to like physically reposition yourself to be able to keep mining while hitting the sweet spot. Another tip that's pretty simple is that you need to put down these power lines to extend the range, and you can press space to do so. So pressing space, you can drop them as long as you have any. And this makes exploration a lot smoother, especially early on. It's also worth noting that till you unlock the full map, you will only be able to see parts of the map where you place down power lines, and parts of the map that are connected to your very messy base. To craft these power lines or conveyor belts or whatever, you simply press their corresponding key on the keyboard, so 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then you just hold C to quick craft, and you can just craft them like this. And it's also worth noting that you can use tab to cycle through your various things available on this hotbar down here. Another quick tip is to also use the pin function. So early on, you might find out you need a specific thing, and you can basically pin recipes by pressing V on the recipe. You can also pin orders, so you can remember what is it I need to gather for this order. And this can be super handy when you're trying to target something specific, so do keep the pin function in mind as well. Before you unlock automated farming, it can also be very worthwhile actually doing some manual farming. So if you collect seeds from plants while out in the world by simply shooting them with your beam like this, you'll get a seed as well. It can make a lot of sense to basically collect these seeds and just place them down. And you can harvest these yourself once they're fully grown by simply holding right click and going over them very briefly. So if you just go like this while holding right click, you will very quickly have harvested all of them. And this can be a very good way to get some early crops before, as I said, you manage to automate your farming. And speaking of automating farming, this is very simple to do. You build one of these terraformers here, and you basically plant crops in it by selecting which crop you want. And then you make sure to have some collector bots on a nearby silo within the same grid, and then the collector bots will be picking up all the crops as they become available, as you can be seeing right here. I've also found that it's pretty important that you keep the farm fully within the grid here, as the collector bots won't be picking up stuff from the farms that are outside of their transformer grid. To get different qualities of crops, you need fertilizer, and you can craft fertilizer here at the composter. And it's very worth keeping in mind that you need all 3 different types of fertilizers, so both the green one, the blue one, and the pink one, as you'll need various qualities of crops to fulfill different orders. So don't just go ahead and craft only the best one or only the middle one. You need all 3 colors, so try to do a good spread of these. And so lastly, I want to talk a bit about animals. You can gather these animals, the game will explain it to you, so I'm not going to go over that, but these animals are important to get various materials such as golden spores. And to get these, you essentially need to feed the animals specific things. And so I just wanted to tell you which animals give you what things. So the hard berries can give, so these can give fire caps. The blanco fruit, so these can give bitter caps. The glow caps can give these fungus. The mallow puffs can give nebula spores. And the razor grass can give golden spores. And so this took me a little while to figure out which ones gave what, because I just put all my crops in a mix in one field. And I later found out that it actually made a lot more sense to separate them so I could actually target specific things. And then I could also make sure to keep at least 2 of each kind of fertilizer on each set of crops. And you do need to replenish the fertilizer every once in a while. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, then please do consider dropping a like on the video. And if you want to see more videos from me, then consider subscribing as well. Anyways, thank you so much. Have a great day. Until next time.